And with Selah, the author.
Hi, everybody.
Welcome. Thank you so much for
Thank
coming.
you for having me.
Just tell us about yourself, what you do, all those hats.
Ooh.
Or maybe just half of them if you want. Take a half an hour.
Well, first and foremost, I am a full-time spoken word artist. I travel the country reciting poetry. I am an author of 4 books. I am a full-time mother of 2 amazing boys. I am also the executive director of the Montclair Poetry Festival, which is a biannual poetry festival, 3 days at the end of May. So, look out for that too. What else?
You have room in your life for anything else?
No, nothing but poetry and children. That's all.
She's a wonderful talent. I'm glad I got her on.
Thank you.
What is art to you? How do you describe art?
Art is everything. Art is in this grass. Art is in the trees. Art is, you and I just fellowshipping. That's what art is to me. It's everything.
And how do you see it affects the community or our people?
Wow. Art affects us because this art gives us an outlet to express ourselves freely. Whether it's within our painting, within dancing, within poetry, it allows us to create something and give it back to the community for the community to enjoy.
Nothing deep else? No.
That's it. Art, for me, what art is your outlet and your tool to create something to give back into the universe. We're all made to give something back into the universe, and whether it's with poetry.
I knew you had something deep. Watch it, y'all. She threw a word on me the other day. I still don't know what it was.
I mean, we're all created
Just getting warmed up. That's all.
We're all, you are so silly. We're all created to give something back into this world. Everything that we have is not meant for us to keep. It's meant for us to create and to share with the world. So that's what art is to me.
It's one level. So that was very spiritual. So you're saying really, so we come to this earth and we have something, we have these innate gifts, and we give them back. We give them back to the universe. We give them back to people. And I could say, I think we even heal ourselves sometimes with our own art.
Most definitely.
I think we're like the first, the Bible talks that we receive the first fruits.
Most definitely. It's definitely a time for healing when you create art because, art is very therapeutic, and sometimes without even knowing, we end up healing ourselves, like you said, with our art, whether it's poetry. We look back at it and we're like, wow, that was really meant for me.
Right.
Yeah. So
this series has done something for me because I've changed into a different person because I meet the artists and talk to the artists and feel their pulse and feel their hurts and their pains and their ups and downs, their discoveries. And I realize we're so similar. Artists is so similar.
Yeah.
We say the same thing, we just do it differently.
Yes.
Or we have a different timetable. Yes. But it's just like so amazing. So sometimes after I do interviews, I actually feel empowered because I'll be like, oh, okay, you got to do hookies upside your head too, just like me.
It's amazing that you say that. How we feel it differently or we express it differently because for me, I know that when I'm on a stage and I'm reciting poetry, I feel a sense of relief, like a burden has been lifted off of my shoulders because I get to share that. It's like a release, and I just love that aspect about art. So I definitely agree with you on that.
And that feeling is unbelievable. I think that's probably why so many musicians and artists have such a hard time coming back to the reality.
Yes.
Because that is such a high when you give to people and then they give back to you.
Yes.
That energy is berserk.
The energy is ridiculous.
Because and then you have to come back to, like I said, to your world.
To the reality of
which your world is just regular stuff. It's like with regular people talking and everything. And it's like sometimes even at night, if you do a show and it's late, you can't go to sleep that night because your vibrations.
Yeah. It's like,
We have to do a show or talk about how people deal with that, because that's how people drink and sex and
yeah,
drug
yeah, they
themselves
don't know,
away.
they don't
Yeah.
have a different outlet to cope with, and
Right.
they haven't
Exactly.
tapped into that creative energy
Right.
that can help them
Yes.
to,
Very
you
good
know,
point.
get to that point where they can release without the
Going
use
to
of,
another level, y'all.
yeah,
I told you.
without the, the
Right.
release of actually, with the drugs and alcohol and all of that. They haven't found that release through art or creativity rather. And it's definitely something that should be talked about.
Or mechanisms.
Yeah,
Meditation.
Exactly, yes.
Unfortunately, I don't think all the time that the things that we learn in church help us.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by that, musicians at
Mm-hmm.
1 o'clock in the morning, I don't know. Maybe you can go to your word to calm you down, but that
energy
is real.
Ridiculous. Yes.
And you can't lay down and just go to sleep.
No, you can't.
And other people can't help you.
Nope.
Yeah, I mean, you
just
can have your
to go through
significant other, they can be holding you and everything.
and it just
and
doesn't
your
help.
right, because your joint is vibrating.
Yeah.
And you're vibrating.
It's the same thing that
Beat is going
how
up, man.
Beyonce says that when she's not performing, she's just Beyonce. But when she's on the stage, she's Sasha Fierce. And
It's not going to these second.
It's
these dual week.
It's the same. It's a similar. What's the word that I'm looking for? It's similar because when you step on that stage as an artist, when you step into your platform, you go to a totally different world. I know for me, when I perform and then I get into that space, I'm no longer who I am as an individual.
Do you have an alternate name?
You know what? And
we have to name you too?
I'm giving you a piece of my life right now.
Okay, so I'll back off that.
No, my name is not on my birth certificate. It's not Selah. That's my stage name. That's what I go by.
I'm saying it wrong. Selah?
Selah. I mean, people call me Selah. They call me Say for
Selah, y'all.
And it's who you see on the stage and who you see as a businesswoman.
Who was she? Who's the one on the stage? We want to know.
Selah. You see Selah. You're seeing Selah right now.
Selah. I like that. That's very spiritual. Selah.
Yeah, it comes from the Book of Psalms, and
really?
it's meant.
Oh,
yeah,
and they say it's Selah.
Mm-hmm, yeah,
okay.
I pronounce it Selah. I think it just flows a lot better, But people do call me Selah. They call me Say for short. But it's meant to signify a pause to reflect on the words you just heard, because the Psalms, were songs written by David.
Right.
So it's meant to pause and reflect, and then you hear music in the background to think, oh, that's really cool. Yes, she said something really dope.
So we have a lot of spiritual and Christian stuff going on
mm-hmm.
as we talk. So what do you think about this whole idea? We really don't have, the church doesn't really pay attention to the prophet. I mean, to me, the black church, the African American church, only really deals with artists as the musician and the teacher and preacher. And you have any feelings about that? And I know I didn't ask you about that, but I mean, I have a problem because I don't understand why our biggest institution, the black church, don't really honor the artists in the capacity that they should.
Well, I think society as a whole.
That joint, the position changed. It was like, I didn't mean to.
I think society as a whole, it's not just the church. Society as a whole doesn't, revere the artists as, they don't.
I say it almost every interview.
Yeah, for me, I feel like poets, are scribes. We are the ones who are meant to write.
You have me worshiping over this joint. I ain't worship on the series yet.
I think poets are scribes, and we're meant to write, our history in a poetic.
Oh, it's going up, y'all.
Fashion.
Can you see us?
And musicians, they have a factor. They have an influence too. And artists in general, we are the ones who paint the future and paint our stories. Whether it be through the spoken word, whether it be through C notes, whether it is through the painting on the canvas, or the step in our feet. We are the ones who create our present and our future. And I don't think as artists we are revered as such.
Pow, pow, pow. Yo, get that, huh?
You know, I really do.
No, you're right on. You point out.
I really do think that, you know, I wish artists were in the mainstream, and that's something that I'm fighting.
Well, that's
for.
what When I met you, I heard that in your heart and your spirit. That's where we're going. That's one reason why I'm doing this series, because I believe it is the artist that recreates the world.
Yeah.
I read something from James Baldwin, and I've said this a few times, and he talks about that the poet is parentheses the artist, and it's only the poet, it's only the artist that knows what the world needs.
Yeah.
It's not the politician.
I'm
It's not the
telling you,
preacher.
man.
See, and I keep saying this because if the artist can really grasp that,
Yeah.
and really chew on that,
Yeah.
and really believe that, that's where the change
comes from. Yeah. Yeah. I really, I would like to think of myself as an activist and an advocate for the artist, because
Hey, you
Hey!
You guys are recording. I'm sorry.
in a YouTube interview now.
I'm sorry.
You don't have to be sorry.
It's all good.
Oh, quick
It's all
question.
good.
Oh, go ahead. I didn't know you guys were.
No, we're gonna stop right now,
Okay.
and we gotta get a better life. Like